Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Lost in Space Season 1, Episode 4. It's called The Robinsons Were Here. So, full spoilers for the episode, as always. So, I think the first thing I'd say about this one is that it continues the trend of each episode feeling fairly focused. And it's got a story that it wants to tell, it's got a beginning, middle, and end, and it seems like it has it's got a thematic focus, but more so a conceptual focus. Like, you know, some of the last three episodes have been very, like, episode 2 was with the leeches, and that was very, or was that episode 3?
It was episode 3.
That was episode 3. Episode 3 with the leeches, that was very kind of like, there's leech monsters, and we're fighting tentacles. It's, you know, goofy sci-fi kind of B-movie thing.
One was the ice, 2 was the storm.
Yeah, so very,
was the leeches.
very disaster movie, the first two. This one felt very much 80s kids on an adventure with a robot. Because it's a scene in particular where there's other, because we've established in this episode that there's like about another 12 Jupiters that have landed around the planet. And I say planet, they're all around the same kind of city
Area. Yeah, well, I mean, it makes sense. They all fell at roughly the same time.
Yeah, no, it does. So they're all within a reasonable distance. You know, it was maybe like, I don't know, an hour's drive to the closest one or something like that. Yeah. And we get this, we'll explain the plot in a minute, but there's a scene where there's another group of characters from another Jupiter ship walking past, and the kids who have, you know, decided they want to make sure no one else sees the robot, they all hide behind some trees, and they're all hiding, they're just watching this other group walk past, and then the robot kind of pokes his head out from behind the tree, and then Will's like, no, back, and I just got this 80s movie flashback, and I don't even know what movie it is. It'll be something with a robot, or maybe something like Harry and the Hendersons, but just kids sneaking around with some sort of big, tall character.
I get you.
It gave me those vibes, and I'm like, that's what this episode is mostly, because the parents are away doing their own thing. The parents are separate, having their own drama, and the kids are dealing with this. Because, much to my surprise, Judy, from Angela, the one who was injured with Dawn, because Dawn's actually with this other Jupiter crew.
Yeah. This
Asian family. And the chicken, all the livestock was all tagged, so they found the chicken, so they found him. So it's now his lucky chicken because it saved his life. So Judy, being the doctor, goes over, gives her a look-see. Obviously, she's got a lot of injuries. It's like, okay, what happened? And it's implied that she's about to tell her about the robot attack. And we cut to Judy leaving in a rush, like, oh, everything's fine, I need to go. Hey, you know, she's like rushing back to the ship by herself, because the parents are off trying to find this other thing that's landed, because they thought it was another Jupiter, but it wasn't. It was something else. So they're going to have to investigate. Judy's like rushing back, and she's like terrified of what's going to happen because she's learned about the robot, and she gets back, and like Will's like, you know, teaching it to draw, which, by the way, this drawing, I have no doubt, is going to be very important at some point.
Oh, almost certainly.
Because Will draws the robot, essentially. He tries to draw the robot, and he throws some little stones for the eye bit, so it's got like all the little sparks. And then the robot draws this thing, which is essentially... It reminded me of like a... You know when you're showing like a covalent bond in chemistry?
Yeah.
The two overlapping circles? It's like that, and then... As Will pointed out, like 5 dots around it, not inside it. Not like, again, that'd be very chemistry if it was inside it, but it was like outside it. It was like 3 in a row at the top, and then there was like 2 other ones elsewhere. And I was like, okay, this means something. And Will takes a photo of it, so you know he's going to bring that again. Chekhov's gun.
Yep.
This is Chekhov's photo.
Set up.
Yes, Chekhov's photo. But Judy, like, you know, confronts Will about this. He's like, hey, and she's like telling, that thing. I thought, you know, Angela described this thing. It had 4 legs, and it had, you know, scales, metal scale armor, and all this. And then it mentioned the glowing eye, and I knew what it was. And then Will just has this look in his face, and she's like, "You knew, you knew." But he's fine now. He's fine. And Judy's like, "Oh no, we have to tell parents, and we have to, like, you know, do all this.
Get rid of him."
And Will like plans to run off and hide him without everyone, and he sort of sneaks off. And of course, like, Smith's just kind of nosing around,
skulking around,
yeah, watching things. Of course, it's very notable that when she's like sort of like saying, "Oh yeah, I won't tell anyone that you're running off." Like, it's like an excuse just to get next to his bed so she can take the gun after he leaves. Yeah. That's all I could think when she walked into the room. It's like, no, she's just going for the gun. That's all she cares about in this scene.
Pretty much.
She keeps trying to get him to open up about the robot, and it's like, oh, why do you want all this intel? This is
you're plotting something.
Yeah, always conniving, always scheming. And but Will's taking out the robot. Judy runs after and gets to him. And what's funny is Penny's quite pissed off early on in the episode because she's the one that has to stay behind with Will, and like everyone else, like because Judy goes with the parents, and then Judy comes back. Because at one point, her mum over the comms is like, "Hey, Judy's come back to look after you." It's like, why do I need a babysitter? Just things like that. And there maybe wasn't as many like great like Penny specific lines in this one, but the one that I did quite enjoy is when she actually chases after them. She catches up to him, and she has no idea what's going on. She doesn't know about the robot, killing people on the ship. She doesn't know any of this stuff. She just runs up to him and says, "Hey, you guys are past the perimeter wall that was set up. You're outside. I don't know what's going on, but I like it."
Yeah, she's having so much fun with it, isn't she?
Yeah, and she gets explained off camera, and she's like, "Oh, do you believe this?" and so on. But this episode was like kind of like really setting up the robot as like a learning being of some kind. Like it's learning from Will how to be a person or to have noble qualities and things. There's all these little ones. Of course, they find these flowers that instantly bloom when you clap for presumably any noise, but. There's one of them claps, and it's like, that's, and then Judy does it, and then Will does it, and then the robot like copies him, but because he's got really big, metal hands, it's this loud, thunderous clap, and the entire area blooms in one go, and it's really beautiful. And then there's a moment later on where the robot's still clapping. They're on like sort of just next to the river, and he's like clapping
they're on
still.
like gravel.
Yeah, and he's like, no, and Will's like, no, it doesn't work here. You have to do this, and it's very. I don't want to quite compare it to this, but it's almost a little bit like in Terminator 2 when young thingamajig, which John Connor is the thumbs up, and this is why we cry. It sort of shades of that, this kind of innocence. And Judy's watching this, and you can tell that she's thinking, this is like it seems like he's learning. It's like Will's teaching him how to be good and how to understand things.
Yeah, it's clear that she's changing her mind over the course of the episode. It's not particularly subtle about it, is it?
It's not subtle, but unlike some of the other things we've maybe complained about in past episodes, I don't think anything with this not being subtle bothered me.
No, I don't mean this one as a problem.
Yeah, so all that worked. And of course, when they do run into that other group and they hide, but the one guy leaves a letter behind, and he's the son of their elected official for their sector of the colony.
Yeah.
And there's a running joke where both the parents voted for the other guy. No one likes his dad. But this kid, who Judy clearly Penny clearly has a bit of a crush on immediately. That said, it doesn't stop her from being Penny. Because he sees the robot, and he's like, "Oh, I need to tell people." And by the way, I love that Judy's instinct is to just grab his mouth. Like she's the one who goes in and is like, "No, you'll be quiet."
Stay quiet.
And Penny's like, "Hey, you're going to keep quiet about this. This is something we're all going to keep quiet about." He's like, "Why would I do that?" "Well, this letter seems very important." And she just starts and it's pure, straight up blackmail, and it's glorious. Yeah. It's very glorious.
Blackmail is always fun.
Most of the time, sure. Yeah. There can be occasions.
Yeah, I mean, in TV rules.
I don't know. A certain episode of Shut Up and Dance maybe dispels this notion.
Okay, yeah, I take it back.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
You've come up with one example where it's truly horrifying.
Yep. So shut up. That's what Black Mirror does for you. It gives you the horrifying version of events. So, but they get to this cave that they're planning to leave the robot in, and it's getting a bit late. They can't go back. So Will's like, "Oh, let's just stay with them overnight." And Judy's like, "Okay, fine, but we have to go back in the morning before the parents get back."
But of course, at this point, they already know the parents are staying out overnight anyway. Of
course, yeah. The parents their chariots broke down. It's going to they're going to have to wait till morning to charge it with the solar panels. So they're stuck out, and we'll talk about where they are in a minute. But so they're in this cave, and we get this very sort of classical moment where Penny she finds this wet clay, and she writes on the cave wall, "The Robinsons were here," and she puts her handprint on it, and then Will does the same thing. They kind of nag Judy and so off, and she's like, "Fine, okay," and she does it as well. So all three of them have done it,
and then accuses them of vandalism.
But it's this very sweet thing. It's this whole idea of the study of space and the expanse of the galaxies and everything. It's all very humbling, and you realise how small you are. It's what's the chances we ended up in a place with very similar elements to Earth, and let's leave a mark to say that we were here. And of course the sweet moment, and again going back to Judy witnessing the robot being more of a a human-like character. Because obviously there's a whole thing throughout the episode where she keeps saying, no, it's an it, it's not a he, it's an it. And she actually calls it a he when she's talking to the parents at the end.
Yeah.
And Will points out, of course, she's like...
and she's like, shut up, it's just a pronoun.
But she witnesses, like, when they're all asleep, she kind of wakes up and she sees the robot when they're asleep doing the handprint himself up against the wall. It's a very sweet little moment. And it's like... And what I like that the secret's now extended to all the kids, because again, it goes back to that... I almost feel like this middle trilogy of episodes might be the kids are all in something and the parents don't know about it, sort of part
probably.
of the show. Like, getting those vibes.
Yeah, I do hope the other episodes have a bit more going on, because this one didn't do that much for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not super big on the the 80s kids just go on an adventure thing. Like it's fine, but like the disaster movie, the B movie, alien stuff of the last one. That's what I'm into.
I have no doubt we'll get back to that stuff. I have no doubt about it.
No, again, which is why I'm not too concerned. I just this one I'm like, yeah, okay, it's fine. I
really
enjoy
like
the
this
characters
one
still. Yeah,
actually, I really like this one because that's like you say, I was really enjoyed the characters, but it was also doing this stuff that I do like from these types of movies. Your adventures in babysitting, your take your pick of these things. I dig that stuff, and I dig that the kids are all in this now. And obviously, we know that Judy's 18 because she mentions it in this episode. Which, by the way, I felt kind of awkward in that moment because I'm like, are they specifically mentioning that because she's going to be in a romance later on with someone who's older, and it's supposed to be okay because she's told us she's 18?
I don't think so, because I thought she was a bit younger as well, but because obviously we'll get to in a minute, the whole plot of her leaving. I think that's why they tell us she's 18. It's like, no, she's old enough to leave.
That's fair.
I think it's just for that.
Which obviously, they're never getting to the colony at this point anyway, so it doesn't matter. That's never happening. You're staying.
Oh, obviously.
Because obviously Penny's really upset. And again, she tackles it with being sarcastic. It's like, I hate you anyway, so that works out for me. And it's like, okay, you don't.
Yeah.
Because actually, go back to her sarcasm. Actually, when Judy first returns and she's on the warpath to try and find Will in the ship, she passes Penny's in the central area, and she just through the window she's like, "Hey, missed you," and it's just pure sarcasm.
Yeah,
it's gold.
See, that's the stuff I do. I do like, especially the sisters playing off each other. I think they're probably the highlight of the show. But this episode, outside of those moments, I'm like, okay, I appreciate what it's doing. I understand that's what this episode is. My hope is that with the way each other episode has had, a thing, the first one was ice. Then I'm hoping this is the only one of this kind, because it feels, it's good for people who like it. But for for me, I'm like, okay, I can live with just one of them.
I do think the kids having the secret will play out for. I mean, the parents might find out by the end of the next episode, but I feel like we're going to at least get the full episode for the most part with them still having the secret.
Probably.
And possibly another 2. I feel like it may be another trilogy, and that'll be the running theme of the middle of the season, perhaps.
Yeah.
But, the idea is that by the time that the parents do find out, Judy's going to be a complete believer of the robot's okay. She's going to be completely switched sides. And that may be what convinces them, because, Judy's to them, Judy's the responsible one who always makes the right calls.
Yeah.
Something that Penny's constantly, making fun of. Is like, we'll take Judy just in case someone needs saving, urgently.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to be fair, she is a doctor, so I mean,
she does have the training for when people need saving urgently.
Yeah, because when she says it almost sounds like she's some sort of action hero. She can whip into action anytime something bad happens. But no, she's a doctor. She can literally save people when something bad happens.
Yeah. That's why she's here.
What are you going to do? Whip out your book? read some Moby Dick.
With it.
Here, I will numb your slow death with some sweet, soothing sounds of some I don't know, Dickens, whatever. Take your pick.
She definitely mentioned that she's got plenty of Dickens.
She did mention that. I think, yeah, you're right. I just picked one at random. I just picked our classical author. But hey, so no, I enjoyed all that stuff, and of course the big thing is that Smith follows them, and it knows, because it does that great ironic cut. Well, not ironic. It's not quite an ironic cut, but it's like they say, we're the only one who knows where he is, and then it cuts straight to her inching towards the cave. It's very, very smart editing, just to sort of follow on from the thought process. You're thinking about that, and it goes straight to her getting into the cave. And the final scene is basically Smith trying to manipulate the robot.
Yeah, she kind of is like, you know, I'm not gonna hurt you, but you're not gonna hurt me because that stupid kid told you can't hurt anyone, and that includes me, even if I do something awful.
And then tries to convince them that humans are bad and they'll always betray you. Which, I mean, coming from her, which has some points, but he says, Will Robinson. He just says Will Robinson, and he's voice because he knows 3 words. He's like Groot. Danger, Will Robinson. That's his 3 words. He can say just one of them at times, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not quite the same as Groot because
he can mix and match
his,
the 3.
his is a full sentence and that's it.
Yeah. Whereas he can just pick the 1 word. Because obviously there's other stuff. Of course, he knocks down a tree at one point so they can cross a ravine. And again, going back to it feeling like a pure 80s movie. The moment when they get across and what was
Throws up his arms in celebration.
Yeah, it's just is it just was there something else that happened that made him do that? I can't remember. But he
I think Will's done it before.
Oh no, sure. I get that he's done it before and that's why he knows the motion. I'm trying to remember if there was a specific other little thing that triggered the success.
I think it was just getting the tree down, right, and put it in place.
No, because we're already halfway across. The kids were already halfway. Because Will almost falls off because he does it as well after the robot does it.
Oh, you're right.
So I'm trying to remember what the exact trigger. It doesn't really matter. But, the robot just, on his own, with no prompt, just throws his arms up in success as if, woo! Yeah. And, again, Judy's looking at us going, he's celebrating.
Yeah. And then, obviously, Will does it, and she looks around, and she's looking between the two, going, hang on a second.
Yeah, so, again, it's one of those great little... Wall-E or Short Circuit or take your pick. One of those robots. They're developing emotions. But no, this is a really intriguing idea that the worst of humanity is going to try and corrupt the robot when the innocence of humanity, a child who seems to be a fairly good child so far, he's not been a little shithead, is the positive force. So you've got this good versus evil kind of pull for his attentions.
Yeah.
And it makes you hurt a little bit because it's kind of like obviously not to the same sort of depth or like oh god, this is painful to sit through because it's like you're so tense waiting for the bad thing to happen, but kind of in the same way that something like War or Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, there's the one bad guy, or in the case of that movie, there's the one bad ape who's going to ruin everything. Like everything's going well, the relations between human and apes are going great, but that one asshole, ape
screws it up for everyone.
Yeah. You're getting those vibes here where she might actually screw up how good this robot is. Now, given that it's a lighter tone show, given that it's essentially family friendly, I'm fairly confident the robot will come out as a hero. But
oh yeah, by the end, it's just there might be a dark patch.
Yes.
Before that,
and he might win everyone else over. What might be a really sweet thing is if John, the father, if he actually has to end up sticking up for the robot, that could be a really sweet turning point towards the end.
Yeah.
I could see that being a big moment. But speaking of the parents, they're off and they find basically it's part of the main ship that's the big colony ship that's landed, and they're looking for supplies. Oh, maybe we can boost the signals because they're trying to contact them from both Jupiter's, theirs, and then this new one with the Asian family. Nothing's working. Nothing's getting through. Oh, maybe we can boost the signal somehow. Oh, that's part of the supply section of the ship. And turns out Don works in that section. He's like, oh yeah, I deal with that. I can help you find stuff. I'll go with you. Which they make a little bit of a joke about that. How he basically, berates them until he lets them come along.
Hey, it works.
As it turns out, he's a bit of a scoundrel. Not in the same way that Smith is. It's nothing near as nefarious. He's still a fairly likeable guy. He just happens to be a smuggler. He's kind... I mean... I'm just trying to... Look, I'm just saying, when you love characters in something like Firefly, it's hard not to look at a space smuggler and go, hey, he's unlikable. No, he's not. He's very likable, right? He's
right.
Devilishly handsome.
Yeah, he's Han Solo.
He's Malcolm Reynolds.
Which one came first?
Honestly, Han Solo probably does apply better, because Malcolm's whole thing is that he had his entire world pulling away from him. He has a much better, more interesting backstory than Han Solo does. Han Solo is just he's just a smuggler.
We will debate that in a month.
Oh, we can debate it, but I know how that debate's going to go.
Well, all I'm saying is you might end up liking the backstory.
more than I like the backstory to Firefly.
Probably not. No.
Which didn't need a prequel movie, might I add.
To be fair, it had a TV show to explain it.
Well, yeah, but it was still all backstory. It wasn't like part of the main plot. A couple of flashbacks here or there, and that was it.
Sure, but how much do the flashbacks add up to?
Not a whole lot. It wasn't that many flashbacks.
Someone should count them.
There's like one at the start of the pilot.
Yeah, I know.
And then the only other flashbacks you really get are when it's something really specific to do with a character that's in that episode. Yeah. But but it's never like, oh, here is the whole war and everything that happened and the ins and outs of. So so suck it. Anyway, Firefly's better than Star Wars. You had it here first, folks. Hey, Connor. Just because something came first does not make it better. Sometimes you have the rough draft and then you perfect it.
I agree. In general, I'm just saying. Most people will default to Han Solo as the comparison here for a goddamn reason.
He's a bit slimier than... Oh, not slimier, that's the wrong word. He's a bit more... because Han Solo's got that roguish thing where you feel like he can go in a fight, whereas Don feels like he's more the... Just to compare him to a character from the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, he's like Han Solo meets Xander.
Yeah, okay, I'll allow it.
Are you getting that comparison?
I am.
But anyway, he smuggles stuff. He's got booze. He threw out the thing they need so that crate could be used as a booze. And she's like, you couldn't have used the crate with the cups in it?
It's a pretty reasonable point.
It is, yeah. The sciencey technical thing that might be very important to something later on.
Or cups.
Because I'm sure there's more cups, and honestly, we can make more cups quite easily. Cups are just a shape. You can make a shape and drink out of it.
Even if not, we've got like the 3D printers that can make cups probably in seconds.
Yes. This is, another hand, it's a very sort of high-tech little piece of technology that can't just be printed, I assume.
Or even if it can, it will probably take a lot longer. We saw how long it took to print just a wrench. It was over an hour for a simple wrench.
And obviously it can print a gun, but again, I think there's a difference between a gun and something that has like a circuit board in it.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So, that's my logic. Anyway, what's it get at? Aye, so they basically notice, hey, wait a minute, I think I know why the main ship's not getting our calls, and there's just the big giant satellite dish from the ship, just lying there in the sand. Oh crap, oh well, plan B then. And they tell the senator dude, or whatever his rank is, overseer, and he's like, okay, plan B then. But they end up getting trapped. They're having like a nice moment, and they're all watching this. I was going to call it the Northern Lights, but it's not really. It's more like this like weird, like kind of think like jellyfish, but they're not in water kind of animal that all kind of swarm and make this great light show in the sky. And we see them watching it. We see the kids watch it with the robot.
Yeah,
it's a nice sweet moment. Yeah, and it's all nice, and they're almost reminiscing. They're almost having like a heart-to-heart, husband to wife, and then the satellite dish falls over and they get trapped inside it. That felt kind of random. I'm not gonna lie.
It did a bit, yeah.
As funny as it was, it felt a bit random for my taste, but whatever. Yeah. So they're inside the satellite dish and they start like properly kind of arguing, and we actually get like a little bit again. It just adds a little bit more to his character because she's like, hey, I know you weren't like, told you had to go back. You weren't, called up and said, hey, we need you on the front lines. We need you for this mission. You made the choice to go and fight. Yeah. And he tries to pass it off like, well, yeah, I had a duty beyond just my family. I had a duty to everyone, to fight the good fight. It's like, don't give me that crap. So we get this idea that, okay, he's decided to come along because he wants to be with his family, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's come along to it, because she even says, where are you going to live when we get there? Like, it's not like they're going as a married couple. Well,
I mean, to be fair, though, she has this letter. Was the letter from him, or was this supposed to be Judy's letter?
No, this was for him. She opened it by accident. She said that.
Yeah, but the way he plays it, like, I wasn't sure if... Because he doesn't really talk about it that much. He kind of dances around it. And I wasn't sure if this was supposed to be Judy's letter that she'd left lying around that Maureen had found.
Why would you think it was Judy's letter?
Well, you know, Judy was saying that she was planning on leaving.
Yeah, but she said it was a marine letter because it had the same markings. It was like that's why she thought it was an invitation to like a marine ball or something.
Right, I'm with you.
It had all the same markings that all his stuff usually does, and she opened it without thinking about it, and it was basically like, "Hey, we've received your request to like go back on active duty. Come out."
Yeah.
So she's had this whole time, and he's trying to explain it to her. So no, I don't think that. So I don't think there's any risk that it was Judy's letter or whatever. I think it is just he had this thing where he chose to go back out. But I do like the idea that they aren't going as a married couple. Like, you know, it's like, okay, he's coming because he doesn't want to be away from his kids forever. You know, that's probably why the choice was made.
Yeah. I like that. I will say, I hope we just don't have them bickering every episode, because you know, every so far it's like, okay, every episode there's a thing they're bickering about, right? And I'm like, okay, I get that there's conflict and tension between them, but I don't need it every single episode in this way. Just sometimes it just being underlying is enough.
Yeah, that's fair. It's led to some good moments, because when they kind of made up at the end of the hailstorm stuff.
Yeah.
That was some good stuff, and it was kind of sweet, and then it sort of diverted into this.
It's why I haven't really questioned it before now, though, because it's like, you know, it's had all these moments that I'm like, okay, it's been nice, but then now it's kind of feeling like it's almost formulaic.
Okay, that's a fair critique. Yeah, I mean, I think it was definitely the least exciting part of the episode. I don't know if it maybe bothered me so much, but it definitely wasn't the stuff I was like into as much.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I'm wanting to see how it goes. I'm wondering if, you know, the plot ramps up more, there'll be less time for it, which is why it feels like they're getting a lot of it now.
Could be.
But it could be the case, may not be the case. I will say this though. Now that we're 4 episodes in out of 10 episodes, I feel like this is a Netflix show where the episodes are, you know, they're long enough. They're 58 minutes to an hour, give or take. And I don't feel that length. I have to say, I feel like they're getting pretty well.
I'll agree with that.
And I think part of it is that each episode has its own focus. It's not just a chopped up big story. It's very...
No, you're right. It's not just the next part of the story. Each one has its own, like, you know, this was the adventure in the woods. You know, we had the storm, you know, the eels. You know, each one has a thing that you can point to and say, that's
but
that
even beyond the thing, just the idea of it tells a story that has a beginning, middle, and end. Is, you know, it sets up the whole... Judy finds out. She then starts to maybe, okay, we need to get rid of this. We need to tell the parents about it, blah, blah, blah. Oh, wait. Maybe there's some humanity in there. There's an arc. There's an arc over the course of the episode. Yeah. So, I think that's really solid. So, no, I'm still on board. And I like the Adventure 80 stuff more than you do. So,
yeah, I don't think this is a bad episode. It didn't appeal to me so much. So I'm just kind of going, yeah, okay, I see what you're doing, but I want to get back to the stuff I like.
So no, that's episode 4. So I'm excited to go back to this. We'll be back to the next one as soon as we can. Let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. There's a link in the description if you want to go over there nice and quick. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching. Keep watching TV. We'll see you next time. Have you got any vanilla?